Big goals are the best. The next 20 minutes is absolutely full of ideas on how to create growth in your business, no matter what your business is. So grab a pen and paper and get ready because you're going to have some ideas as we go through this. You're going to want to map out some strategies and make some notes for later that you can revisit as well. So number one secret to creating your own strategies for growth is to replicate. And when I started my first $1 million business, long before we hit $1 million, it was all new. I had no idea how to get more clients, where to find them, or even which ones I should be looking for. I took part in a group mentoring program as a mentee. And one of the things that I was told there was absolutely key to transforming my business and taking me from, $100,000 a year to $1 million a year within the next 3 years. My business was and still is that business, promotional products. And it was business to business. So I had no contacts at all in the local community. I was starting from zero, but I had managed to find about 20 clients at that point when I joined this program. And a couple were larger companies. And I was spray marketing in the worst way. I was knocking on doors at every type of business in town because I had no idea which ones were going to make a good customer. I was absolutely burnt out from trying to be all the things to all the people. And I was spinning my wheels and I wasn't really getting any real traction. So my mentor asked me who my best customer was. And the answer was easy. I had been really, really fortunate to land a ski resort client. And honestly, it was really luck. I caught the right person on the phone at the right moment. But I had held on to that. I grabbed on with both hands. And at that point, they accounted for about $50,000 a year of my $100,000 a year business. So she said, well, there's your answer. Don't keep trying to reinvent yourself for every different kind of business. Get out there and replicate that client. Find every single ski resort within traveling distance, knock on their door, become the ski resort promotional product expert. And then when you run out of ski resorts, go and find every travel destination type company and start approaching them. So replicate your success with more of the same. So within 3 years, I was working with, 5 ski resorts, a theme park, 3 cruise lines, a bunch of spas, wineries. That was my sweet spot. It's an industry I know, it's an industry I love, and I became the expert in what they needed. So I replicated my success, and it was so much easier than really reinventing the wheel on every single sales call. So that's what I'm talking about today. That's what I want you to look for in your business. Replicate for success. So simply do more of what's working. So there's more than one way to replicate in your business. I focused on replicating my clients, but you can also replicate in other ways. So you can replicate your promotions. So what promotions did you do that were really successful that you can tweak and repeat? Can you analyze and figure out why they were successful and then create a new one with the same elements that made it successful, right? You can replicate your products. Do you have a product or service that does really well? Why? Can you do more of that service with slight variations? You can replicate your processes. Do you have any processes that are really efficient or useful or that really generate sales? Where could you use that or something similar to get similar outcomes, right? If you have a sales process that works really well with one particular group of customers, can you do something similar for another group, right? Or for another product or whatever it happens to be. Every business is different. But what you want to do is look at where you're having success and then figure out why you're having that success and where else in your business you can replicate that, right? You can replicate your customers like I did, but you could do it differently. Rather than going out and looking for more of the same customer, you could replicate your customers by implementing a referral program. So with a referral program, you're getting the customers that love you to send you more people that are probably just like them and will love you too, right? So I want you to take, an hour this week and mentally walk through your business to find the most successful parts of it and then figure out how you can replicate those areas. A really simple way to use replication is with your social media. Look at your analytics. What posts had a great response? How do you give them more of that? You can reuse the exact post if it's more than a couple of months old. Just mention it's a throwback or remember when, or change the graphics slightly to freshen it up and just reuse the caption. It's a great idea, actually, with all of your content to keep a best of folder. If you listen to Brendan Bouchard, he talks about this all the time. He keeps the social posts, the videos, the blog posts, all of those things that are the most popular in a best of folder. And then he pulls from that all the time, because if it worked once, it's likely going to work again. And don't think that your people are going to get tired of seeing it, because nobody is seeing all of the things that you do with algorithms and everything else. Odds are they're not seeing it over and over again, even if you post it over and over again. So, and if you move it from platform to platform, somebody may be following you on Instagram, but they don't read your blog, or somebody's, part of your group on Facebook, but they're not watching your YouTube videos, etc. So if it worked, on one platform, try it. It's a great way to save time as well on another platform, and you will likely have success with it in other locations as well. So that's one great example of replication. So that's replication. That's using something that was a success before, using it again. The next one, tip number 2, is innovation. Okay. So innovation, sometimes the key to big growth is new perspective. And you can apply innovation to all areas of your business, but it really starts by evaluating what you currently have in place. So you want to look at how you can change your processes to better serve and sell. How can you implement systems to make you more efficient and free up your time to focus on other key areas, and like business development or other areas that need work? Look at your market. What new products is your market looking for? One really important exercise I think most businesses don't do enough is to really look at how you can be unique and cut through the noise and capture your ideal customer's attention, right? What is everyone in your industry saying or doing? And how can you do something different? Because I think we're all so overwhelmed with marketing messages and just noise in general that we don't even hear the messages most of the time anymore. And the best way to cut through that is to do something completely different from your competitors. And I actually did a whole live training session on this. It's on the blog. You can go over to shecorporated.com on the blog, and it walks through how to find your unique message that grabs their attention, cuts through that noise, and then you deliver your message. But you've got to get their attention first, and that's often the tricky part. So think about how you can be unique using even your weaknesses, or what you perceive to be your weaknesses in your business can actually be flipped around and be your unique selling point. And like I say, the whole training for that's on the blog. You can go and have a look at it, but figure out how you can be unique. Think about markets that have changed, what new markets have changed that you can sell your product into, or how you can add new products or services to your line to meet new demand. For example, in the last few years, working from home has become much more prevalent. People just being home more is a thing, right? So is there a home delivery option for your service? Is there some way to tap into that market or to serve that need that maybe you're not doing? That's an example of how you could do that with innovation. Think about how you can better address your customers' needs. And if you're not sure how you can better address your customers' needs, do a client survey. If you haven't done one in the last 6-12 months, you should do one. Do a quick, you can use SurveyMonkey, you could use, Google Sheets, you can use Typeform. There's all sorts of different ways to do it. And you want to reach out to your customers, because even if you've been in business for 20 years, with the rate of change in our society in the last few years, you need to be reaching out to them and getting to know them again, because so much has changed in their lives, even if they're the same customers. So definitely do a client survey. Look at your best profit centers. How can you do more of that? How can you increase your margins elsewhere? How can you reduce your workload? This is all part of innovation. Can you delegate or streamline to allow more time for you to work on the business rather than in the business? Because you're going to have all sorts of incredible ideas when you take time to actually think about growing your business rather than what you need to do today in your business, right? You want to make sure you take white space time. You want to schedule business development days and make them non-negotiable appointments with yourself. If we don't block this time, it tends to not happen. And it's really the key to your growth and success. And that's the key to finding time to come up with new ideas, to come up with the innovation. And if you can, I highly recommend, and Sarah Blakely from Spanx does this as well. She does think vacations. I do this once a year as well. And what she does is she takes a solo trip every year, no list, no agenda, just gives herself the time and the space to really free up her mind. When I do it, I'm sure my vacation isn't quite as extravagant as Sarah Blakely's. Sometimes I don't even go anywhere. Sometimes I'll actually just stay home and block the time off work. If I can't get away with the kids or whatever it is, I need to be home in the evenings, but I'll take the days as white space time. And I just have, some general concepts that I want to spend some time on, or some business development things that I've been meaning to get to and I haven't really been able to spend the time on that I wanted to. And I just clear my calendar as if I was away and just work on business development, just think, just planning, just big goals, strategy, that kind of stuff. So make some time for that. So that's innovation. So first was replicate, right? Find what's working and do more of it. Number two is innovate, block some time, and then figure out how you can come up with creative ways in your business to innovate, to create new things, to reach new markets. And the number three secret is dominate. And this is about the power of owning your space. So if you want to be the top company in your field, you want to be the one that everyone refers to, that everyone knows is top notch and is respected as an expert in your niche, then make it so. You can become the leader in your space. You don't have to have the highest sales. You don't have to have been around the longest to become the go-to in your industry. You can make yourself into the leader in your field, and that's going to create a ton of growth in your business. So how do you create that identity for yourself so that you can really step into it and grow? You want to position yourself as a thought leader in your industry. So that means knowing your material, spending time exploring and sharing your material, working to keep yourself really on the leading edge of what's going on in your industry. I mean, you do need to know your stuff, right? You don't need to have the degrees, you don't need to have the 20 years of experience, but you do need to know what you're talking about. Number two is to be everywhere, and I mean everywhere. This is a great way to create buzz and momentum. You want to get on panels, you want to guest on other platforms, contribute, attend events. Leverage your time as much as possible and repurpose wherever you can. If you create something, use it, anywhere that you can use it, but get as much exposure as you can. And this goes hand in hand. Number three is to create great content. It really ties into one and two that I just mentioned, because to be a thought leader and to get yourself featured, you're going to need to create great content. And that might be a blog, that might be videos, high value social posts, whatever makes sense for you and your niche and your business, but you need to be putting value out there in the world for sure. Number four is to know everybody, network. I hate using the word network because it makes some of us recoil in fear, right? I see you out there, introverts. I'm the same, but there's a saying that your network is your net worth. And it's so true. You can't do it alone. The more connected you are, the more opportunity there is, period. And it took me a long time to embrace and accept that. I like to do things myself, but you need to find ways to connect with peers and really share audiences and share opportunities. Number five, contribute everywhere. You don't stick with one platform. Reuse, repurpose, get on, and here's the fine line. When I say contribute everywhere, I don't mean you don't actually have to have active accounts on every single social media platform that's out there, because that's a recipe for burnout. It's a lot. You want to make sure that you're dedicating your time to one or two channels where your people are and you're comfortable, and really get maximum amplification there. But if you have multiple platforms, make sure you're using them all. Make sure you're repurposing that content across multiple platforms, right? If you do a podcast, for example, you can repurpose that as a blog. You can pop the video on YouTube. You can cut it up for social media snippets. You can rewrite it slightly and make an article that you can submit to other platforms. So just get your stuff out everywhere. And then number six is a PR. As far as owning your space and becoming the go-to, PR is incredible. Just do it. If you're not familiar with PR, it's unpaid exposure through features on other platforms like magazines, influencer blogs, TV, that sort of thing. And it is priceless, especially for building your authority. And that's what we're trying to do here. And another great way to build your authority is awards. Apply for awards. This is the ultimate social proof. It gives you authority in your space. And you know what? You're not going to win if you don't apply. And women in general, women entrepreneurs, do not apply for nearly enough awards. I think we think that somebody is going to just nominate us and that's how people win. It's not how people win awards. You need to apply. You should have it on your schedule as something that you look into a couple of times per year, and then apply for what comes up. And the last one I'm going to mention here, as far as owning your space, is mentoring. Get a mentor, and then when you're ready, be a mentor, because sharing knowledge is really an incredible thing, and the benefits for both parties is huge. So your one step for this week, because this is, after all, One Step Empire Live, your one step for this week is to find one thing that you can do from each of those categories. So you want to look at replicating something, you want to look at creating an innovation, and you want to look at a way to find that you can dominate your space, right? So the one thing that you think will move the needle most in your business, one thing you can replicate, one innovation you can implement, and one way you can start dominating your market. And okay, if you want to do more, but start with those three, and just one thing from each of those three categories will have an immense impact on your business next year and be well worth your time. So I hope you go out there and absolutely slay your goals.